Hello everyone, welcome back to Close to Be Milkshake. I am your host, along with support puppet, Mr. Chicken. Yes, today we're going to talk about Chris Watts, his girlfriend, and his family. I am not a clinician. I am diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, and psychopathy. So I believe that I know what I'm talking about. Okay? All right. So first we're going to get into Nicole, which is the girlfriend, the mistress of Chris Watts. If you do not know, Chris Watts murdered his pregnant wife with a son and two small daughters. Okay? All right. So, Chris Watts was having an affair before the murders took place. They were talking about separating and things like that. Now, this video is for Surf Shack 2. He wanted me to look into the girlfriend because he thinks that the girlfriend, helped manipulate him into doing this act. And I'm going to assess everything together and then give you my conclusion at the end. Okay? All right. First, we'll talk about Nicole. Nicole has a past history of arrests several times. Her father is a cop and got her off on all of these things. When she was being interrogated after the whole Chris thing was going down, in her interview, she lied constantly. She was contradicting herself all the time. First, she wasn't fazed that the wife disappeared. And then later she talks about how she was all stressed out. She's freaking out. Why are you freaking out? It's been one day. It's one day. So she's trying to fake empathy there for the woman that she was ruining her life. She was ruining the wife's life by having, sexy time with her husband. You have empathy. Stop it. Stop it. And I'll tell you why. All right. So, she is a predator. She is a home wrecker and went after Chris after knowing that he was married. Chris talked about meeting Nicole. They worked together. And now I know this from personal experience because I have done this. So she knew she was flirting and everything or whatever. And he did say, I'm married. And then she gave him just a couple days and then went after him full force, okay? She said she was told that they were separated. Now, she Googled, will a man marry his mistress? So she knew, no. She also knew that he was married, before she went after him. Shut up. He said Nicole didn't know that Sheann, his wife, was pregnant with a son. Didn't even know that she was pregnant at all, he says. But Nicole says, I will give you a son. This was said before the murders took place. Now, my spidey senses went off because if they're going to get a divorce, he's going to have a son and two daughters. There's going to be visitation and everything. But she's saying, I will give you a son. So this is like him saying, I'm going to have a son. And she's like, oh, well, if that one's disposed of, don't worry, I'll give you a son. What is this, the 1800s, when people thought that the woman gets to choose if you have a boy or a girl? Shut up. Chris was trauma bonded to Nicole, and I'm gonna go into that too. Everything he describes, Nicole made him feel like a masculine man, where his wife emasculated him. She deleted all correspondence with Chris and her friend talking about the affair. As soon as she found out that he was in trouble, she tried to scrub any connection to the two. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that a felony? Right? And then as I was watching, the whole story take place, they did not retrieve a lot of the emails and information. They were just like, we just want Chris, we don't care. So they didn't even, go in, and her dad's a cop. So, he's like, you don't need to mess with her. Just go after him. Okay? Anyway. What else? Oh, she also wants to exploit the relationship and write a book about it. Watching her mannerisms and everything, and I was watching her body language, and I was comparing it to myself as well, of things that I have done in the past. And I think that this woman is definitely a psychopath. If anything, antisocial personality disorder is going down in Chinatown. Okay? All right. Now, for the wife, Xian is a narcissist. She is bossy and controlling. In her closet, when you go into her closet, it says gorgeous across the top. Everything is color coordinated in the closet. It's just perfect. Even his clothes had to be perfect. Her children were dressed up in grandiose statements saying that, it wasn't just girl power stuff, but it's, I'm better than you. And this is her projecting her own shit onto her kids. She fought with Chris's mother constantly. And this is a power struggle between both of them. Because why? Because Chris's mother is also a narcissist. Chris's mother cheated on his father. She is entitled, controlling, and she is enmeshed with her son, Chris. This is why Chris was attracted to his wife, because his wife is a narcissist. His wife also, his wife, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe his wife is the one that did the pursuing in the beginning of the relationship, because Chris has never had a woman pursue him before. He's not the type to do pursuing. He's like a lay in wait. And, the woman comes after him. And, and her being just like mommy, he's like, this feels like home. And so he let himself be controlled by her as well. And because of the fights between mother-in-law and daughter, the power struggle to have control, the mother-in-law, there's a hierarchy. Now, I was in a relationship like this as well, and I had to learn that you're either going to fight with the mother-in-law or you're going to take a little step back and make them feel in control. And she wasn't even going to do that. She's like, no. And I did try with my mother-in-law, and I'm like, this ain't going to work. So it's better to, feed them honey than shit. Okay? All right. Their house was totally immaculate as well. They have 2 tiny children, spotless. Okay? So No, it's not like, a regular household with toys everywhere and you just like, fuck it, because it's going to get messed up anyways all the time. You might as well just leave the shit out, right? But everything was always perfect. And perfection is a narcissistic trait. Okay. Chris's dad is probably disordered as well. He wasn't talked about that much, but Chris did say that he was an addict and that Chris had to talk to him to get him to stop doing whatever addiction it was. He didn't say specifically what drug it was, so I don't know if it was alcoholism or some other drug. I don't know if it was pot or anything worse, but he saw that his health was declining and everything. And I'm sure that Chris didn't want to be left with just the mom, because Chris's father was more supportive, easygoing, never causing conflict. He was also emasculated by the mother, and he let his wife be controlling. Okay, now we're going to get into Chris. Chris is a psychopath. He's a pathological liar. Not just the lying about the murder and everything, murders, but he said when he was in high school, or one of the schools that he was in, that he didn't do shit for the summer, and so he said that he went to China. He said, I went to China, told the teacher, and she's like, okay, we'll write about that. So he had to write this big elaborate story about going to China. Now this is what pathological liars will do as well, is they'll make up elaborate stories that did not happen. So it's not just trying self-preservation because he killed someone. Okay, this is shown throughout his childhood as well. So that was like bing, bing, bing to me. It's like, you lie all your life. Okay. So he had no long-term girlfriends until his wife pursued him. Very few friends growing up. He was a lone wolf. The cops found no one to say anything bad about him because he is his mask. He keeps his emotions in check overtly. So anything that's going inside of him, if anything, it's not shown. My stomach's growling. He let his wife lead, so he wasn't having some sort of narcissistic power struggle with her. He was just, whatever you want, I'm just going to do my job and, take care of business and whatever. And what you don't understand, because I've done extensive research on this, is not all psychopaths present the same. They're not, they can be quick to anger if they want. They can, be criminals and do shady shit, and some do not. Some are just, they're just doing their fucking job. That's what I was doing for a very long time, doing things behind the shadows, but I could present my whole life as normal. Okay. Now, he did kill his family, duh. So he is capable. And he's capable of being intimate in his killing. He strangled his wife. With his children, he put a blanket over their heads because he couldn't deal with looking at them. But he was fine strangling his wife. He was fine seeing the light go out of her controlling eyes. He had enough. He was all right with that. He finally wanted peace and freedom and not to be controlled anymore. Now, he could have split in this moment. Remember, their shit was getting heated, right? She was talking about, you're never going to see the kids anymore. Me, when I am in a heated moment, yes, threats are coming out. And she was threatening him with all kinds of garbage. And I don't think that he gave a shit about the threatening part. He was just sick of her. He was done. So I do not believe it was like, now being in a trauma bonded relationship, he is conflicted between showing that he's the perfect husband and now having this fantasy. Having both is ideal, but it does bring stress, not over the whole cheating thing. The stress is, and he even said this, the stress is flashes of, you have this other family. It's just a flicker. You know this, and then you can compartmentalize it and then live this other life. So he can live his double life with no shame, because when that thought comes up, you push it away. Okay? So killing his family, I don't believe it was just get them out so I can live this fantasy life. Now, it could be, to me, I don't think so. I think in that split, in that moment, he was like, I'm fucking sick of you. And then he did not know what to do. He killed the wife. And in that split, he was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna throw away all of them. I'm fucked already. So I'm just gonna get rid of all of them. That way, if I get away with it, I'm scot-free, or I'm gonna be in trouble because I already killed the wife. You know? And it's very cold. It's very cold. Okay? All right. Now, he showed no concern about the missing family. You even see him laughing a little bit, smiling a little bit when he's being interviewed that his family is missing. And this reminded me of when Mikey ran away from home over a year ago, and I had to call the cops. And the cops came. Now, Mikey's gone. Now, when Mikey would ever go on a walk, he would always come back within an hour and a half, like clockwork, okay? So I'm already conditioned that he always comes back. So my worry level is very low. He also answers all of his texts. So when he wasn't answering his texts and he was going over the time, I started to worry that something happened. I went and I walked and I looked for him and I couldn't find him. And then my boyfriend was like, you're gonna have to call the police and they'll be on it because he has autism. And I was like, okay. And I was, even though I was worried about him, I was calm. My body wasn't allowing panic or anything. Nothing was happening. I was like, it was almost calculated, this is what I have to do. Now the cops come, and even during that time when they're doing everything that they can, they're wonderful. They, had, the little buzzers flying above. They were asking people. They were even bringing out dogs, and they said cadaver dogs. That didn't even raise my anxiety level. They're like, we need something, and I went and I got the thing. And I was preparing myself that they might find a dead body, and I still did not have an anxiety level. I'm like, I'll worry about that if that comes. But I didn't know, what was going to happen. And this might be a deficit in my own mind. I'm not gonna, worry about that shit. Now, I didn't murder my child. So that is going to, cause some anxiety of getting into trouble. But I was once interrogated by loss prevention at a job that I worked at because of some kids getting liquor bought and me returning the liquor because it was the wrong kind that was being purchased illegally, right? And I knew that it was being purchased illegally. So I knew this, but I had to lie to loss prevention. And I was calm. And I denied anything. I even had to make up a story. They saw on video that I was a part, but I was talking to them about that. And I said I was just giving them advice about the booze. That's all. So I was very calm with that. But somebody wrote my name on a piece of paper that says that you're returning alcohol. I never wrote my name down on that. Somebody, one of my co-workers, wrote down my name because I was trying to cover my shit, right? So he's writing my name down that I did this thing. And I got very pissed off and angry. I said, that is not my signature. I did not write that name down. Who got fired? The guy who wrote my name down. Now he went off and became a firefighter and his life is bomb. Okay, so don't feel bad. Yes, I'm justifying my shit. Okay. Anyways, so he tried to blame his wife, saying that she killed the kids and that enraged him, which made him kill her. And then he went in panic mode to get rid of the bodies, which he came clean later knowing, that was bullshit. But he was trying to cover his tracks, self-preservation. He had sex with his wife one last time before he murdered her. So it's fun. The cops were like, did you have sex because, did you feel like you were cheating on your girlfriend, having sex? No, that's all compartmentalized. But I do believe he was like, I want to have sex one last time with you. Because that could be almost premeditated. Like, I am fucking done with you. Let's, have one more last come down. Okay? All right. Now, he was trauma bonded to Nicole. He was love bombed. Nicole let him speak. And he felt cared for. This is what antisocials do. Okay? She took him on outings, so he was enjoying the fantasy. She always wanted to have sex. His wife did not. So she was sex bombing him as well. He protected Nicole even after the arrest. He doesn't want to be abandoned and is holding on to this fantasy with her. All of you guys who have been trauma bonded to somebody and you are broken up with them or whatever, you still are drawn to that person. You can't move forward. There's no closure. He doesn't have closure with her. And everybody's watching. All of his letters are going to be read and everything. So she can't correspond with him. So he is living in the fantasy of their relationship. Okay. All right. Now, I don't believe that the killing was about money. Like, I need to get rid of them so I don't have to deal with child support and all that shit, because Sheann, the wife, made just as much money as him. He said this. She had a side hustle. And she had to make commercials or videos or whatever. And he said how he fucking hated that, had to put on the fake family thing for the, commercial and stuff. And she was very controlling and everything with that. But so I do not think that it had anything to do with money. He doesn't care about women asking for a relationship with him like other killers, and their grandiosity and their narcissism and everything, and they love all that shit. He throws away those letters. He also throws away letters of people asking him about his motives, and he is paranoid about journalists. What else? Journalists exploiting him. He doesn't want to relive his crimes like other killers do. Just remember Ted Bundy when he was being a lawyer for himself, representing himself, and he would ask the cop, "Can you walk me through the crime?" He wanted to relive it right there. I watched this. I'm laughing. I'm like, he wants to relive what he did step by step. He was fucking almost sweating, like getting a boner and shit. Chris doesn't want to do that. This was a one and done. All right. And lastly, I want to put, and I see this in the comments of these videos, the detectives being friendly and compassionate. My ex-brother-in-law, he was also a detective, and he would do this too and try to get people to talk and feel like you're in a safe space. And for the real dummies, they're not aware of this, and so they start letting off information that they don't want to give off. Chris is not fooled by this shit. He is telling the cops what they need to hear during the interrogation shit, and then afterwards, when he is talking to FBI agents and such for the interview that I took my notes from, he's already been caught and everything. So him just talking about stuff, and they're just like, "Now I know this is going to be painful and this blah blah blah," and I'm just like, whatever, dude. You want the information. How about just shut the fuck up, ask your questions, and I'll tell you. But this is how they're taught. They're taught to try to make you comfortable and everything. And it reminded me of when I did a video with Dr. Ruth. And Dr. Ruth is like, "The queen is here, the queen is here." And I laughed because I'm like, she knew this too though, but she's trying to boost up my grandiose side. And I'm like, I already know. You don't have to regulate my self-esteem. I already know I'm the fucking best. So you don't need to shower all that shit. I have no self-esteem issue that I need boosted up at this, But saying that to show, grandiosity. No, I'm a watcher. I critique everything. And this is part of the antisocial psychopathy personality traits. Okay? You cannot play me. I'm going to tell you. Now, because of my narcissism and stuff, I love to talk about myself. So he does not have that. Okay? He does not have that. Ted Bundy has that. He loved talking about himself. But not Chris. There was no shine a light on me and let me tell you how great I am. There's none of that. There was a lot of fake emotional, regret, please. Okay. Anyway, so I hope that was helpful and fun. And I know that you're going to want to defend the girlfriend and the wife. Stop it. Okay? All right. I hope that was helpful. Have a great day. Namaste.